2020 is almost over.
And there was much rejoicing.
I know, right? And I think I figured out what our big year-end grand finale is going to be. Oh, I'm gonna agree with the Mary Sue! Hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42, the one and only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy! Did we cross? We keep crossing in between dimensions. It's like every time we get one of these weird Mandela effect things, or I agree with the Mary freaking Sue, it's like we're in a completely different dimension. And today, oh, they're on about Wonder Woman, and I gotta kind of agree with them. Just a smidge, just a hair, just a touch. Also, if you guys do like my content, please like, subscribe, share. I am Mecha Random 42. Did I already say that? I'm your favorite YouTube whatever. From the undisclosed location somewhere. Should be back to normal very, very soon in case, 2021 brings zombies. We'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of hoping for aliens or Godzilla monsters. But, hey, zombies, you never know. Don't think we're getting out of this in 2020. Sorry to burst everybody's bubble. Mary Sue! I'm agreeing with the Mary freaking Sue. Wonder Woman 1984 expects me to believe that the Wonder Woman has spent 6 decades mourning, and that doesn't sit well with me. All right. So I'm not completely agreeing with the tone, the inflection, but yeah. Why would she still be pining for Pine, right? Why would she still be obsessed with Steve when she's Wonder Woman? She could have anybody. You went all throughout the 60s. You never met Hendrix or anybody? I mean, for crying out loud. All right, here we go. Because, from like World War I to the 1980s, even the 1980s. How many? Oh, please. There's a scene in the first Sex and the City movie where Carrie Bradshaw is left at the altar by her abso-fucking-lutely on-again, off-again boyfriend, Mr. Big. This is a Wonder Woman article. Mary Sue. Maybe that's just it. You kind of have to have this little tangential personality writing style to be a Mary Sue writer. Is that all that? Hey, I could do it. Oh, wait. No, I couldn't. I'm not an SJW. I know the hair might fool you, but I did a video on this a long time ago, and the difference between SJWs and kind of punk music-y, weirdos like me with the dyed hair is that the SJWs always have bangs, and they all have that kind of fish face, that sort of look. With me. Like that chick, like that one. Oh, that's right, they're talking about Sex and the City in a Wonder Woman article. I went off on a tangent too. It's okay. It leads to a montage of her letting the days go by unaware that the passage of time, as her friends whisk her away to Mexico, where the honeymoon was going to be, in an attempt to lift her spirits. Carrie instructs them to close all the blinds for maximum sad girl hours, but eventually she learns to laugh again. Doesn't she end up with him anyway? I think I remember seeing like the movie or something. She ended up with him anyway, but they weren't like married, but they went off. They just kind of decided to live together. I don't remember. They were watching old movies. Old black and white movies was their thing, right? Is that in the movie? Oh, tell me if you guys watched it, because it's been a long time since I've seen it. Now we got to remember what Wonder Woman had going on, because now you've got me thinking about Sex and the City. Thank you, Mary Sue writer. When I finished watching Wonder Woman 1984 with my wife,
Giggity.
Lesbian, that's why. I realized that Diana was Carrie Bradshaw, a shell of her former self because of a man. The reasons are different, of course. Can we disqualify her because she doesn't like men, maybe? Can we disqualify her for because she might not understand the sort of... See, brainstorm. I am an LGBT. It's okay, I'm only the B in the alphabet.
Giggity.
I am one of those. So do I get to call out the person for writing an article who isn't actually the demographic of the movie? Because remember when, the diversity sort of people are like, you need to see yourself on screen, or you just won't understand because you're not of this, and you aren't allowed to comment because you're not that. Do I get a call out? Being on both teams. Do I get a call out? Probably not. I'm sure they'll just cancel me. It's okay, I'm already canceled. The reasons are different, of course, since Steve Trevor died instead of getting cold feet. Yeah, which is why you shouldn't be making the comparisons. You're comparing apples to oranges. instead of getting cold feet and engaging in 6 seasons worth of relationship drama. My point is that the state of depression is similar for both women. No, it's not. Absolutely not. Because this one is more the dealing with the on again, off again, the will he, won't he sort of stuff is a completely different thing because you still have a shot there. If somebody's just gone and out of your life, like through, prematurely expiring through no fault of their own except flying a plane into an explosion like Steve did, so totally his own fault, kind of. But hey, he saved the planet or something. I don't remember that much of the first movie. Other than the theater projector broke down and I had to watch that third act twice. And I think I used that time to get up and hit the necessary room. But hey, no, it's a completely different thing. I mean, you're able to close the chapter if there's somebody who... Yeah, that's so much easier because you have closure. With Big, you don't because he's right there and you see him all the time. And like I said, I thought they ended up together anyway. But where Carrie was able to move forward thanks to the power of female friendship, Wonder Woman 84's Diana has 0 friends, nor is she really interested in them or anything else, including her own accomplishments. Well, that's because she's a goddess and doesn't... I'm surprised she's still working at the Smithsonian. I'm surprised that, wasn't the whole point of having Ben Affleck's Batman go and find her was because he didn't know where she was? Isn't that what I'm right in remembering sort of from, I think it was from the trailer, to be perfectly honest, because I thought she was kind of in hiding. He had to go and find who she was because she wasn't, but no, she's just out in the open with a real name, with Diana Prince as her name for all eternity. 100 years go by, the woman never ages a day and has been living like that for decades as far as we know. There are old mementos in her house that we see as she leaves to sit alone at a restaurant, mournfully watching as a waiter clears an extra plate, solidifying her status as a broken-hearted woman. Why? Why has she ceased to enjoy anything until Steve's unnatural and highly suspect return 6 decades later? Oh, I know, because it's a bad movie. It's a kind of a bad movie. There's a lot of little things that fall flat when you watch it and you don't even realize it until you kind of sit and think about it for a few days. And that's one of the things. That's what we call a plot hole. It is a moment of implausible plausibility, I guess. It's not very believable that she would be still pining after Pine after all this time, and that almost rhymes. It's interesting, really, because one of the biggest complaints about the DCEU in the past was how grid mark it was. The first Wonder Woman film was praised for being a counter to how bleak the DC movies have been. On the surface, Wonder Woman 1984 is a brightly colored trip through the 80s. Barely. It just has a couple little references here and there, and not even that much. You didn't even have an 80s soundtrack. It wasn't fun like the 80s. That was the thing. It wasn't fun like the 80s. It was slow and boring and dull, and it took itself way too seriously. It should have been more fun. But beneath that, it's just depressing. Again, you're making me agree with Mary Sue. I'm supposed to think that this Steve/Diana reverse fish out of water scenario is cute. But it's marred by the fact that this is a woman who's completely isolated herself from society for over 60 years, save for working a 9 to 5 and the occasional secret crime fighting in her full costume, where nobody's ever heard of her before. And Wonder Woman is someone who should most definitely be relishing in it. And that's the thing. There's all these little things that you don't really notice like the first time until you like kind of sit with it and you really start to think, oh wait, this doesn't make sense. And you start talking to people and then they kind of find something that you might have missed, right? In Wonder Woman 1984, Diana only finds joy again when her dead boyfriend takes over another man's body, even if she's clearly done some pretty cool shit on her own. More on this later. She finally moves on when he tells her she's doing entirely too much because, well, it's not actually him. So they've kind of been screwing with somebody else's life and body. Yes, now let's talk about it. She feels zero, I guess that's supposed to be this heroic arc, but this is the type of thing. She would have said, you're not Steve though. We can't just, I would love to see you again, but how is this? You're in somebody else's body. What's up with him? Is he okay? That should have been her first, and I guess she's probably swept away, but this is just so much of the script says so sort of stuff, like, oh, she's just been pining for Pine all this time because script says so, because that needs to happen because of this. It's just not very well thought out. This is kind of like Star Trek Discovery, where they just do a lot of stuff because they want to set up this scene or this action sequence, or, they say, well, we need this to happen because this is going to happen later. And they don't ever think of why, though. Yes, but why would they do this? And that is the biggest problem with so many of these badly written properties, this entertainment stuff, is that they don't ever consider why. And the fact that they're noticing this in the Mary Sue, but are picking apart for a completely different reason than, oh, it's just a bad movie. I think they probably like this movie. Oh, and the wish she made is slowly draining her of her powers, and she doesn't care. Yikes. Well, okay, that's another thing. She would be, I would hope that my superheroes that I'm supposed to look up to and admire would be a little bit more concerned with, the innocent people out there, and even losing the powers, right? Losing the superhero powers is an interesting enough trope that they've used. They did on Bewitched all the time, where she'd lose her powers and she'd get sick enough to call Dr. Bombay.
Calling Dr. Bombay, calling Dr. Bombay, emergency, come right away.
You have all these things where you kind of can explore how the characters will react, and are they still heroic? Do they feel useless? Deanna Troi on Star Trek The Next Generation lost her empathic powers. This is a very common sort of thing that has been done so much better so many other places. So the fact that they just kind of gloss it over completely makes it seem so unimportant. It makes it seem like her losing her powers was a non-important event in the film. 60-some years of society leveling up, and there's nothing that motivates her. Women's suffrage, the civil rights movement, the Stonewall riots, a man walking on the moon, disco, drive-in movies, Star Wars, Atari. There has to be something. Yeah? I guess maybe breakdancing. Oh wait, that's only when Steve returns and is in awe over it. And even after he gives the okay to move on, which should not be up to him, he is dead. How do we go from, I'm new to this world and it's amazing, let me try and figure out how a revolving door works, to nothing matters if there's not a fighter pilot in a fanny pack by my side? Oh, why do you have to have a point? That's actually a good point. Are they hiring real critics? Did they find actual, because it's a new name. Is this a new person? I don't know how to feel about this. I'm used to being mad at the same uninformed opinions. But no, they actually make a decent point. Before y'all destroy me, I too appreciate Chris Pine and his fanny pack, but he was even out here like, sis, please let me go. It's, she has a point. She has a point. I'm assuming it's a she. I saw a she name, but Brianna Lawrence. Okay, it's a she. Why couldn't she enjoy a damn thing at all until he showed up? Are you seriously telling me in that long gap of time, she hasn't done what most of us women would do when missing a loved one and practice self-care or seek companionship with others? I don't mean relationship-wise, I just mean friendship. She comes from an island of women. Some form of sisterhood should be in her course somewhere. That's another good point. I think they tried to showcase that a little bit with her friendship with Barbara. She's like, okay, you just need a friend. I'll try and be your friend. I'm not going to be a bitch to you. But, yeah, is that the character from Kristen Wiig? Yeah, I think that's Kristen Wiig's character. It shows how much I remember because, yes, it's Kristen Wiig. It's Gal Gadot. It's Pedro Pascal. It's one of those movies where you don't really see the character anymore. She speaks of her sister so much in the other forms of media, but for some reason in this movie, she only longs for Steve. I'm struggling to figure out what this interpretation of Diana likes about the world she, at the end of her first adventure, felt so much compassion for, even after she lost Steve. All I have to go on is the one crime-fighting scene, which she's keeping secret. Her job, which she barely engages with her coworkers, and I'm not entirely sure what she even does for a living, and why that's the job she went for. Her apartment, which she barely spends time in, and a single lunch with Barbara. Which she brings up Steve again, at least in Batman v Superman. I can't believe I'm referencing this movie, the writer says. She looked like she kind of enjoyed flirting with Bruce Wayne, and beating the shit out of that mutilated mess I refuse to acknowledge as Doomsday. Hell, even after her leaving her entire civilization in the first Wonder Woman, she took a second to smile about ice cream and babies. There was none of that there. Yes, this movie had no fun. It had no life. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that mall scene was one of the reshoots after the really, really bad test screenings, because this movie had so little to do with Wonder Woman or the 1980s. It was such a blah. It was a blah of a movie. It's mind-boggling that in a superhero movie, we don't see or hear anything about what Diana's been up to, superpower-wise, until Steve shows up. I mean, she can make an entire jet invisible, and apparently has been practicing on coffee mugs. Can we get a scene of her trying to further develop her powers before work or something? Also, Diana tells Steve that she's been trying to figure out flight. I guess we can't see that scene either, huh? Not even her jumping away from the mall fight and trying to float in the air before she goes home? Alas, we don't see Wonder Woman achieve this remarkable ability until Steve's lesson and his death, or rather her releasing the unnamed man from her wish and leaving him in the middle of a riot. And then there's Asteria. So this is like the good end scene credit spoiler thingy. Diana casually tells us about Asteria after Steve discovers the armor in her office, of which, by the way, she's got all sorts of monitors rigged up to watch what's going on in the city. Why is this the first we're seeing of, oh, never mind. What's extra infuriating about this Asteria mention is that Diana tells us that she's been searching for this golden Amazonian heroine for a while now, but only managed to find her armor. We don't know what finding Asteria would mean to Diana. Why she decided to look for her, or why she's dedicated to collect the armor. Is she trying to reconnect home? Is she just trying to prevent others from finding and misusing it? Does she just want some badass armor? I have no idea, because all this comes up past the halfway point of the movie and is never fully explored. Why isn't this the first thing we're seeing in the movie? Why isn't this woman's quest to find the ultimate Amazon the movie? It was just a bad movie, and I'm agreeing with the Mary freaking Sue. So here you go. What did you guys think of the movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Tell me what you thought in the comment section below. I am Mecha Random 42, and I will see you guys on the next video, live stream, or wherever. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.